Hey, what's up? It's Jesko again from AcousticsInsider.com, where I teach home studio acoustic treatment techniques for audio professionals, but without all the voodoo. I'm back for another video in collaboration with HEDD Audio. This time I want to talk to you guys about headphones, and not just headphones, but headphones in particular, and what you really need to know in order to get consistent mix translation out of them. All right? Because I think there's one thing that doesn't get discussed quite so often when we're talking about using headphones to mix on, and that's what I want to get into in this video. But first, if you want to watch the rest of the videos in this series, have a look at the link in the card. And if you're in the market for a new speaker, maybe a headphone, have a look at the link in the description. That's an affiliate link. If you buy through that link, you'll support me at no extra cost to you, but obviously that would be awesome for me. So with that, let's get into this video. Okay, let me just quickly start with the age-old questions of can you mix on headphones? It should be pretty obvious that yes, you can, otherwise I wouldn't be making this video. Just a couple of points. Obviously, the way that you need to see headphones as part of your mixing arsenal is as just another reference tool, right? So just like your main set of speakers, maybe your hi-fi, maybe your in-ears that you use when you go outside and you go for walks that you listen to kind of casually on the road. Your car, obviously, all of these are just tools in your reference sound system arsenal, and your headphones are just another one of those tools, okay? So it's not like a black and white thing. As always, you basically do a certain amount of work, certain particular tasks on your headphones, okay? Now, some people will rely on them more, some people rely on them less. This is very much a kind of personal decision, a personal experience thing. Some people might go so far as to mainly mix on headphones, and that is totally fine, right? You got to figure out for yourself how you can best use headphones and to what degree they make sense as part of your arsenal of tools, okay? Me personally, I use headphones mainly for mix prep. Because I find it much easier to just do that. It's just much more comfortable to be listening through the individual tracks, figure out if there are any kind of technical errors that I need to correct, to kind of just get a quick glimpse of how things are positioned in the stereo panorama, whether things are mono, whether things are super stereo, how much reverb there is on certain tracks that I'm getting, all this stuff. So I use them for mix prep. I do use them for checking spaces as well. Once I'm in the process of adding artificial spaces, I do always go back to my speakers to check that, but I definitely use my headphones for that as well. I don't really do balancing, me personally, on headphones, although I have, and it does work, but I just prefer to do it on speakers, right? So when we talk about this question of mixing on headphones, don't think you need to be super dogmatic about it. Find out what works for you and just go with that. As a general recommendation, in terms of price, I find you can get good headphones that will allow you to work properly upwards of about $300. Obviously, these are a lot more expensive, high-end, really, really high-end. You don't need to go all that far, but below $300, you get into kind of a questionable kind of area, in my opinion. I've heard some very, very bad headphones at a price point cheaper than $300, so I would kind of aim upwards of that. But then it's really a no-brainer investment. You'll keep your headphones for years. If you get to know them well, they will serve you incredibly well, so it really is a great investment. I also think it's fine to use EQ to sort of compensate or adjust the tonality of your system, whether it is you just kind of messing about with the kind of the EQs that you've got available to you. For example, in my case, I use my RME to boost the bass in my Shure SRH 1440s. They're a bit bass shy, so I just kind of boost the bass with a shelving EQ to put them in line with what I'm getting from my speakers. Other people use reference software, SonarWorks, obviously, reference ID, or whatever it's called, to kind of compensate for the frequency response of the headphones. I'm totally down with that, okay? Whatever works for you. I think what's more important that you get a consistent sound from your headphones in order to get consistent mixes. And that's the main problem that we get with headphones, that the frequency response of headphones can vary quite a bit. Obviously through just the simple design, but also through the shape of your head, of your ear. But most importantly, and that is the critical part of this video, is how you actually position them on your head. So with different wearing positions, if you will, of the headphone on your head, you create different geometries that can actually change the frequency response of the headphones quite a bit. Typically, we're talking about a loss of bass, for example, when the ear cups don't seal properly around your head. We can also get quite a bit of change in the treble, so in the high end, the mids and the high end, just through inconsistent positioning in relation to your ear canal. And it's those things that really make consistent sound from your headphones a somewhat difficult or variable, and that is what you need to pay attention to. Now, you can measure these effects. I'm not going to do that here. It's actually pretty tricky to do. I'll leave a video linked in the description in the resource section that you can watch just to get an idea of what it takes to measure the frequency response of headphones and what makes it so tricky. One thing I do want to show you though is certain aspects of the actual driver designs that also affect this, right? And why it actually becomes even more important with kind of big driver units like we have in the head with the air motion transformer, but also most types of planar magnetic headphones and electrostatic headphones that have a big drive unit. So let me just show that to you on the basis of the headphone. So I've got one slightly disassembled here. And what I want to show you is what that driver, the AMT air motion transformer driver in the headphone actually looks like. And one thing we can maybe see, I'm not sure if you can get that on camera, Felix, is that the middle of these folds are slightly more recessed than the outer folds, right? So we've got slightly deeper folds on the outside and then slightly kind of less deep folds on the inside. And so we've got the outer folds that are meant that play low frequencies and then mids and highs kind of in the middle, right? So what you might know from like sound system design, big line array speakers, for example, is that with big drive units, you get more directionality. You get to kind of beam form where the sound goes. And it's the same with even smaller drivers, but like headphones, right? So this is a fairly big drive unit, and so it'll have way more controlled dispersion patterns, dispersion characteristics in comparison to kind of your standard dynamic drivers. And that makes them a little more sensitive to how you wear them and how you put them on your head, right? So I'm going to show that to you in a second. One final thing I just want to note about these headphones, because I think it's quite interesting, is just how much space they create between your ear and the actual drive unit. This is particular for the headphone because it's a balance of getting the sound stage right, which is kind of the speciality that you can get with these air motion transformers, and getting a good frequency response, right? So there's a kind of a compromise. The further you go away with the drive unit from the ear, the larger, the better defined the sound stage tends to get, but the more messed up the frequency response tends to get. And so getting that distance right is crucial to getting the sound of the headphone. So let's compare that to my old rickety pair of biodynamic DT990s, which I've got here and I've taken apart, so I can show you what the drive unit looks like in comparison to this one. So this is my trusted old DT990 that I've taken apart. And so what we can see here is the magnet, obviously, and the diaphragm sitting in front of that you can't see, so it's behind the magnet now. If we turn it around, it turns out that this inner section is really the only part where sound can come through. The rest of it is solid, right? So the actual size of this unit where the sound comes from is just this little circle here, right? In comparison to what we saw from the headphone and the air motion transformer that you saw there. So the point is that the frequency response can vary quite a bit with how you put these on, or any pair of headphones really. And that's the simple but important point that I want to make with this video, is that in order to get consistent mix translation from your headphones, the crucial thing to watch out for is that you always wear your headphones the same way. It's pretty simple. Here's what I do, and that is that if I put them on, it's a simple motion of down and forward. So I want to get the ear cup kind of sitting comfortably above my ear, and then with the back pressing sort of, or just sitting right next to the back of my earlobe, right? So it's comfortably on my head, but then down and forward, all right? Down and forward, all right? That's how simple it is. Yeah, the point is that you find a consistent way to do this. In general, if you find a comfortable position for your headphones on your head, then you'll also get kind of the sound that the manufacturer intended for those headphones. And so that's really the point that I really want to make with this video, right? So if you want to get consistent mix translation from your headphones, make sure you buy a pair upwards of around $300. Be aware that the position on your head is really important. Don't just throw them on, wear them upside down, you know, there's none of this stuff, you know, I don't know, like, this is not how you wear headphones, yeah? Make sure you get a consistent consistent position on your head in order to get a consistent frequency response. And in general, if you wear them in a comfortable way, you'll also get the sound that the manufacturer intended. My particular way to do this is down and forward in order to get the drive unit sitting in the right position in relation to my ear canal, and that way I know that I'm getting consistent sound from my headphones. So with that, let me wrap up. Just one quick note before you go: if you are setting up a new studio and you're wondering where to position your setup in the room, in your home studio, maybe there are some windows, maybe some doors in inconvenient spots, a wardrobe that you can't move, you're wondering whether that wardrobe should be behind you, in front of you, what the compromise is in terms of window versus the wardrobe, all these things. You want to figure out how to set up your speakers properly to get the most out of your room and speakers. I've got a workshop for you. It's totally free. The Phantom Speaker Test, how to set up your speakers correctly, no matter what room you're in. You can sign up to that at the link in the description and learn my step-by-step process to find the best position in your room to get an even low-end response. Make sure you're getting the best stereo image that sounds like you're working on really good headphones perhaps, and getting the right distance of the speakers to the walls, all those things. There's a whole bunch of other typical questions that arise when you're setting up your speakers, like whether you should put them on stands, what about decoupling. All these things I cover in a nice, easy to follow process for you to make sure that you are really getting the foundations right of building your home studio. So again, if you are setting up your home studio, make sure you sign up to my free workshop, The Phantom Speaker Test, how to set up your speakers correctly, no matter what room you're in. And with that, thanks for watching. I hope this was interesting. It's a slightly short one, but sometimes you gotta focus on the fundamentals to get all the other stuff right that comes afterwards. In some cases, it's as little as making sure you're wearing your headphones properly. People don't tend to talk about that much, but for me, that was always really, really important once I started noticing what a difference that makes. So I hope it makes the same difference to you. With that, let's get back to learning to trust our ears and ultimately get back to having fun making music in the studio. I'll see you in the next video.